in summary, this is an upmarket eco estate. Note the eco, we're trying to make this again a little bit more different from other places. So we're trying to have more rustic kind of local materials being used. The land size itself is about 10.2 hectares and the total plot area is 7.8 hectares. This will be explained a little bit more in detail by Mr. Fang. There are currently 82 plots which are already subdivided, and note these are actually approved at the Gaborone City Council. It's not like we made the plot numbers up. And they range from about 650 to about 1,200 square meters. So these are actually quite large plots. This is ample space for you to build your dream house, as it were. We also have a multi-residential, which is going to be developed by Moremaholo Estates. These are going to be basically 2-bedroom units, open plan, which are double stories, and these will be on offer on rental basis, as well as whoever would like to actually invest in something of that nature. There's going to also be a local center. It's actually quite big, as you can see, about 4,600 square meters. This local center is going to have a spa inside, it's going to have a gym, it's going to have a small little cafe and a small little shopping complex, which I'll explain a little later. And unlike other places, we have an actual garden inside, and we're not just saying a garden just to make it sound nice, we will actually develop that garden. And also, there will be a daycare center for you to go drop off your kids, should you have kids. And also, we are at a very competitive rate of about 600 wheeler per square meter. This, if you go and look at other developments, is, as I said, very competitive. So, still just to introduce the keywords again: eco-friendly, upmarket, a good investment opportunity, and also we are trying to do something which is actually secure. So it's going to be 24-hour surveillance of securities and all the likes, which I will still explain as we go along. But we're not trying to be too elitist. We're trying to actually have a blend between being upmarket and the actual market, which is Botswana. So we're not trying to emulate to Johannesburg or Hyde Park or anything of that nature, but we're trying to make it a little bit more luxurious. As you can see, total luxury, magnificent views, which is what our taglines actually stand for. So this is the actual layout. As I said, it's actually approved by the Gaborone City Council. We did not make this up. And as you can see, there's basically residentials over here, all of these yellows. Unfortunately, this projector, the colors are not coming out too nicely, but this is actually yellow here. And these are the residential plots. We've got the commercial plot over here, which is about 4,000 square meters. The multi-residentials are right over here. So this entrance gate basically is in the middle of the multi-residentials and the commercial center over here. There's also going to be a daycare center or civic and community. So this can be technically anything, but we have chose to actually make this into a daycare center. And just to note at the bottom over here, this layout is in line with the Gaborone North structural plan. So we actually went and consulted with the Gaborone City Council, and they explained to us where the actual exit roads must be, so that as this whole Gaborone North gets developed, all these plots will merge seamlessly into each other. So say the next person this side, their plan as well is going to incorporate these two roads over here. So just to explain to you where it is, as you can see, this is the Pakalane turn. You're just going to drive about 2 kilometers up. On the fourth left, you're going to turn left and drive another 1.3 kilometers. To show you this in pictures, this is the Pakalane turnoff. To the right, you're going to keep going straight, as north and short, as if you're going to Francistown. Keep driving along the A1, and then you turn at this turn over here. This will be the fourth left, so where these funny signs are, just before you get to the Odi turn. You're going to drive along the road, and you're going to pass this other development over here with those green tiles. I don't know if people have seen that.
Sorry, is that
Yes,
that very road tiles?
Not yet, but Gaborone City Council has shown commitment to actually do that. You're going to do a left at the second four-way. This is by that big brick wall. I don't know what is exactly going to be put inside there, but it's quite a massive wall that somebody's invested in. And you keep going straight along this brick wall, a few hundred meters, and you'll see the plot on the right. But as you can see, there are already some people who have started building in that area. Unfortunately, the Gaborone City Council had a moratorium on developments in Gaborone North because everybody used to just build randomly. As you can see, this is another development on this side, but as you can see, it's not really technically abiding by some of the city council rules and so forth. But this is where the plot will be. There are already other developments on this other side. And of course, with this lifting of the moratorium, I'm sure there'll be more developers coming in and actually developing their plots at some stage. This again is how it will look. This will be the local center here, multi-residentials, and the daycare center here. The garden will be right in the middle, and every other plot around here is going to be on offer for sale. This is just showing you the actual plot numbers. We've tried to allocate it, categorize it by colors here, just to show you different plot ranges. So from about 650 to 750 square meters is these plots, mostly in the inside. From about 750 to 850 are these ones on the kind of middle side, as well as the top ranging ones over there. And you get medium ones, large to medium, which are about 850 to 950. These are these ones on the left. And then you get the very big ones, which are these ones on the right. But just note that these are actual plot numbers allocated. So when you actually do get your title deed, it will be written on there, plot number, so and so. Just to explain to you the typical plot sizes, as I said, the red ones are going to be about 650 to 750 square meters. I've noticed that most people cannot visualize exactly what 750 square meters looks like, but it's technically about 36 by 20 meters. So this will be the typical red block. These are going to be stretching all the way in the middle, about 36 by 20, again, which is quite big. From about 750 to 850, you're looking at something that's about 40 by 20. So again, quite a large block that you've got to develop. These 850 by 950, as I said, they're on the left over here, and they're a little bit narrower, but much longer than the other plots. So this is going to be about 50 meters by about 18.5 meters. And the ones that go for at about 1,000 square meters are these ones on the right, which are about 20 by 50 meters. So 50 meters is quite a lot of space for you to do exactly what you desire. So just to explain to you the site plan, how the thing will actually look like. This is still a work in progress. We're still developing the final 3D renders, but this is kind of how the approach will look. This is the security gate as to when you're entering. So we're trying to have a whole feel of a whole rustic kind of look with clad stone over there, as well as wooden trusses which are exposed so that give this whole elegant feel. And we're trying to have nice slate roofs, but if you can't afford slate, of course you've got the option of doing black clay bricks if you really want to. But as I said, this is still a work in progress. We're still going to develop and actually launch much more realistic images in the very near future. But this is how the entire plot is actually looking like so far. As I said, this is the entrance gate. This view that you're seeing over here is exactly this one here. And on the right, you're going to see a local center, which houses all those day spas, the gyms, and the works. On the left of that is the multi-residentials, which I said are 2-bedroom units, lofts, and so forth. And the daycare center, which is on the right. This is still going to be developed. And the communal tea garden in the middle of the actual place. So this is open to all residents, by the way. It's not closed off to anybody. So you can come in there if you want to have a braai, for example. There will be braai facilities. There will be a little swimming pool, and so forth. So just to show you a little closer view, this is the external facade. If you want to just look, if you're basically looking at from the approach, this again is the commercial center here. Once it's finished, it'll also look pretty nice with the whole rafters, exposed trusses, and all the lights. Another view of the external facade and some of the house views. I'm going to take you through some of the house concepts that we've actually developed so far, but these are some of them over here. So just to explain to you again, the entrance gate. The entrance gate view will be looking like this. Of course, the final renders will be looking a heck of a lot nicer than this. but this is the kind of view as you approach. So the whole idea is you've got a whole reflective glass where this will be the sales office here as well, where somebody can actually walk in and get information about the plot. And also, if they drive in, they can actually be seen quite easily by the security, which is actually housed in this place here. A different view of the same building, basically the security gate. On the other side is going to be exposed glass, so that basically the security people can actually have a 360-degree panoramic view of the estate itself. The commercial center, why we needed a commercial center is basically to give you amenities which are close by to you. Instead of leaving your house and going all the way across town, you can actually have everything you need close to your home. And this is how it will look like. This is just the look of the approach. Basically, we're going to be having a lot of glass, a lot of metal, a lot of wood. And this is the perspective view. Over here is the balcony. Just to show you the actual stuff that will be in there, this section over here is basically your gym and your spa over here with an indoor Zen garden. It's not going to be a very, very massive Zen garden. It's just going to be just inside, basically, as you know, a Zen garden with the nice sand, nice stones, and so forth. And you're going to have a couple of spa rooms on the left over here. In the middle, you're going to have an open-air courtyard. The open-air courtyard is basically no roof at the top, so you can actually have sometimes rain falling in. This is going to be right next to the offices. These are basically offices which are not too big, not too small, but they're just offering some residents, should they choose, the ability to have a remote office. So you can basically have high-speed connectivity over there and still be in touch with everything that happens at your workplace without actually having to go anywhere. So as I said, they're not too big, they're not too small. So it's about 14 meters by about 6 meters, so about the roof, the size of this roof. Nothing too grand. And on this side, there'll be a local shop and cafe. So this is the retail space over here, and a small little lounge and dining hall over there. This is what will be serving the community. If somebody does want to come from outside, they're able to come and shop over there, but this will be mainly for residents. This is a different view of the same thing, the commercial center. As I said, there's going to be an open courtyard, so basically a little area in the roof which is open for people to actually sit there and enjoy the fresh air, as it were. So just explaining the multi-residentials, these we're going to be targeting the young professionals. So we're not just targeting the super rich or ultra rich, we're going to have places where some young guys can actually come and buy two-bedroom houses or loft apartments should they wish, or rent them out for that matter. This is how the ground plan of the actual things look. Again, not too big, not too small. So this is an open plan living room and kitchen with a little patio outside. And the top floor is basically 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and the stairs with a little balcony. There will be 16 units in total, each with 2 bedrooms, but some of them will be converted into single bedroom residence, should the person desire. And as I said, these will be available for rent, or if somebody so wishes, they can actually choose to invest and buy a property as well in there. But these are some of the pictures of how the thing will actually look. So, nice rustic look, but it will be double-story with a smaller garage for somebody to actually walk in. So, now, why are we different from every other development? I'm sure so far we are sounding like every other person that has approached your bank. But just to explain to you why we are different. With this estate, firstly, we are trying to be unique in the whole of Botswana, in that we are trying to give a whole different feel, a whole different thing about estate living. Instead of you just coming to buy a plot and try to live there, we're trying to give you a whole lifestyle. So we as the developers are embarking on trying to actually do the whole development of the local center, which as I said, has got spas inside, gyms, small little office spaces, and so forth, as well as a garden, of course. And just note that we actually have an agreement with the Gaborone City Council for development, meaning what used to happen is everybody in Gaborone North used to just develop at will. But right now, well, let me just say, a few years ago there was a moratorium on building where people were not allowed to build anymore or develop or subdivide at the Gaborone North until Gaborone City Council had those guidelines. So this is why you see our plan, thanks to Mr. Feng over here, is it's basically in line with what the Gaborone City Council is envisioning for the whole Gaborone North development. So this binds City Council to actually put roads and sewage. There's actually already sewage on the outside, but it's just for us to now connect. There's already power nearby. As you can see, there are already houses there. So Gaborone City Council is bound by a contract, which we have signed already, to actually put the roads and the sewage and so forth for that area. It also binds Moremokolo to develop. So it's not like we're going to just be selling and just waiting. We actually are duty bound to develop the entire place, as is stated in this contract. So there's no such things as people coming here to speculate. You can't just buy a plot and then leave it barren for 10 years and hope that it'll appreciate. And another thing that we have is actually commitment from the water utilities and the BPC. Ever since that moratorium, the new guidelines stipulate that somebody must go and get authority from the water utilities and the Botswana Power Corporation. This is what is required for the subdivision. So you must actually explain how you're going to connect, how you're going to actually get your water there, and all the lights. Another thing that makes us different is the large plot sizes. This is quite a big land, so we have tried to give people the ability to actually have some place where they can call home, and some place that they can actually breathe instead of being confined to small spaces. And just note that these plots are transferable before development. I know that this is what some banks are being questioning, but just note that it actually is transferable. And some of the amenities at hand, as you said, we've got a local center, it's got a gym, a day spa, a local shop and cafe. It's just small office spaces just for you just to have the ability to communicate with your office instead of having to always go up and down, up and down. There's also going to be a communal tea garden with a swimming pool and a clubhouse, and also bright facilities, a fountain, and a manicured lawn. Again, there will be a daycare and high-speed IT infrastructure. So you can basically stay in contact, whether it be telephone, whether it be Wi-Fi, and the likes. There's also going to be 24-hour security. As you said, this is a gated community, so people are going to be safe and secure in this lovely development that will be coming up. Again, what makes us different is this option here of having a turnkey solution. So we are not just trying to get you to buy a piece of land and go away. We actually offer you the ability to get that piece of land and also get house concepts and liaise with our identified partners. What we have just done is we are the facilitators in all of this. We are not saying that we will be the architects, the insurance providers and all these things, but we have identified people on board who are interested in participating in this project to actually come on board. So if you actually do buy a plot and a house concept, you will actually have every step necessary to go and finally build your place. So there's no excuses about, you didn't know what to do. We basically will assist you. And as we said, we are duty bound to actually develop this. So it's in our best interest to actually make sure that you develop your plot. So these are some of the house types, the house concepts. As I said, these are optional. If you want, you can actually take. If not, that's your business. But these are basically customizable to what you want. These are just concepts. So you can come to us and say, no, I would like another room, or I'd like an extension of this, and so forth. But say, for example, this house over here is ideal for plot sizes of 650 to about 750 square meters. It's basically 200 square meters, the floor area, basically the bottom over here. And it's a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, and the estimated building cost is 1.4 million. Just note, these are just indicative prices. This is not saying that somebody who's going to come and buy that plot is forced to come and buy a house for 1.4 million. It's up to you. And on top of that, even if you did actually want this house concept, you can actually build it in modular form. So if you want, you can start with this section, extend it later, and the works. This is just the section view, well, elevations of the same thing. some perspective views of the house. And this is actually how it looks like. So as I said, once the things are finished, it's going to be looking much nicer than this. It's going to actually have clash stones and everything that is governed by our architectural guidelines, which I'll go through after this. Another type of house that you can get is basically a longer kind of one. As you know that the plots are kind of long and kind of narrow. So this one over here, for example, is ideal for those medium-sized ones, which is about 750 to 950 square meters. And this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, basically very, very large rooms in there. An estimated building cost of about 1.9 million. This is the second floor. I can see this is not quite visible, but these are main bedrooms over here. About 3 bedrooms, little lounge at the top, and this is another patio area over there. These are some elevations of the same building. These are some 3D views of it. The final kind of concept, we've got another one which is even longer, which is going to be ideal for about 950 to about 1,200 square meters. So these ones over here are 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and it's about 384 square meters floor area. Estimated building cost of about 2.4 million. So this is actually quite a large house. And as I said, you can build it in stages if you so wish. These are some of the elevations. It looks like balconies and the works. And just to give you an understanding about the actual look and the feel of the estate. So now that you've seen the kind of skeletal drawings, we're trying to emulate this kind of rustic feel. So it's going to have a lot of clash stone over there. Not everything is going to be clash stone, but just a few accents over here and there. And the whole idea of the whole thing of doing clash stone is to try to have this whole thing again about an eco estate. We're trying to use natural materials which are actually sourced from nearby, and also basically have an African kind of feel to this thing. And also use non-water intensive landscaping. I'll take you through some of the landscaping just in a little bit now. So again, it's going to be pitch roofs, black tiles or slate if you so wish. There's going to be accents of these exposed rafters, which is what I showed you in that first picture on the security gate. But this will be also on the commercial center, it'll be even in the houses and so forth. So just to give it that whole, je ne sais quoi, that's very nice looking feel. Just to explain to you some of the materials, even though this will be explained a bit later in the architectural guidelines. What we're trying to do is, for example, the exterior wall finishes is mainly going to be stone wall and stone cladding. So this is just clean, elegant. This is a bit more rustic. For the roofing, as I said, you can either choose your asphalt shingles or you can actually have black clay tiles. Same kind of thing, but as long as it's kind of a dark color on top. For the wood, most of the wood's accents that we're going to use is going to be mostly ebony and a wood called zebrano. So these are just dark woods. As again, this is just guidelines. Should you so wish, if you want to put oak, that's your business. But I mean, as long as it kind of follows in and ties in, you can't be too different from the status quo. And some leather. We're going to have a lot of accents of black leather, chocolate brown leather. And some accents of metal as well. These are going to be, as you can see, this is just metal plate with those little grooves. And also some brushed stainless steel. Regarding the glass, there's going to be a lot of glass exposures, which is going to be mostly clear. And also this reflective glass, which is basically one-way directional glass. Just to explain to you the landscaping, how the exteriors will look. These are the fields that you want. So, as you said, it's going to be mostly eco estate. So we're trying to actually use non-water intensive landscaping. So be it your elephant grass, be it your cacti, stoneworks, nice landscaping. So just little things that will actually not be too intensive on the water. As you know that we're staying in MOV00119, which does not have a lot of water, but still make it look nice. So these are some of the plants that we'll be using. There will be some tropical plants, which is basically going to be this green fern, and mostly use of cacti, which are these small little shrubs around the areas. Again, for landscaping, we're going to be using some of these. These are ferns, and again, some bushels, some grass, and some of these planters for landscaping. The whole idea here, as I said, is just to make an eco-friendly estate with consideration to the environment, as anybody does. But you are allowed to kind of go willy-nilly and actually go however you want with the design of your house. But of course, we would recommend that you stick to the guidelines. But just to show you some of the partners who have committed to work alongside. So these are people that have actually shown actual interest and commitment. Firstly, this is Balsani Property Group, the lead consultant. They also do transactional advisory service and also property consulting and a range of services. So these are the principal contacts should you so wish to even buy a plot or understand where the project is in terms of its progress. Contact over there should you wish to contact the relevant person. There's another company called RenderMan 3D Studio. These basically are the guys who did all the 3Ds that you see on here, and the ones that will be doing the more realistic ones. So we do 3D architectural visualization and real estate marketing. So all these marketing gimmicks that you see over here as well were designed by RenderMan Studio. Basically what we're offering is just realistic views of your actual house. So instead of you just trying to build, you can actually come and see your house before you actually build it, which could potentially save you costly design errors, because most people don't really know how to read plans. Somebody wants to actually see a picture, and if you can make it realistic, the better. So these are some of the works that RenderMan has done. As you said, this is still a work in progress. It'll look much, much nicer. Of course, once this thing is finished, it'll look something like this, for example. So these are just some of the works RenderMan has done. He's done work for South Africans, he's done work for some Namibians, and some for Botswana. This is some lodge in Indo, something like that. So this, again, is the interior of the lodge. As I said, all these things will actually be looking very realistic by the time everything is done. As you can see, this is from Namibia, with that new era of everything. This is another interior. Another interior. And again, basically you are able to choose your furniture. Like instead of you just having a house and going to look for an interior architect, you can actually choose the furniture that you want. You want a Casprini, you want a old bath or something of that nature, and you can actually incorporate it in your designs and also basically view your house before you build it. The other interested party that has shown commitment is First National Bank. Again, thank you for your commitment. This is basically offering mortgage financing, and here are the contacts for the people if you so wish to contact them. There's also going to be Zeta Engineering. Basically, they are engineering project managers. They are the ones that have designed the actual land servicing plan, so how the electricity is going to be connected, how the sewage is going to be connected, and so forth. They're also going to be responsible for the actual implementation of that. These are some of the contacts over there, Dr. Jeffrey over there. There's also Martho Attorneys, which is a transferring attorney. I think it's running a little bit late, but basically these are the conveyances and also the legal advisors for the actual project. Contacts over there. There's also going to be PG Interiors. PG Interiors is a South African-based interior design company, but they're very good at what they do, and we have sourced them to actually go and assist us in all these things. There's also going to be Avanti Security. Basically, they are the ones responsible for the actual security of the actual premises, and also video surveillance and monitoring, rapid response, and security consulting. So they are basically going to be the ones keeping you safe once you've actually purchased your plot. There's also Long Life Engineering, land surveyors, and also GIS mapping. They have done quite a stellar job at actually assisting us so far in the process of getting approval from City Council. If it was not for the actual plans that were done, we would not have that approval. There's also Guru Web Botswana. Guru Web is basically into web design and maintenance, and also IT consulting. So some of the works that we've done, for example, these are for some tour guides. This is for this annual beach party that happened last year. Website for Seki Kimile Masire, and of course this website for Maremaholo Estate was done by Guru Web as well. So, just to explain to you how to purchase a plot. You've got two options. You can basically do offline or online. Offline is just basically to call the Balsani Property Group and actually just speak to one of the representatives, preferably, and he will explain to you the actual process of doing that whole purchase of that plot. Or you can go online to www.moremaholo.com and go to the interactive map to view all the available stands. If I could just take 2 seconds just to actually go to the actual thing here and actually show you. This is the actual website. So it's actually online now. It's not like we're making this up. So this moremaholo.com development, if you want, you can actually go to the interactive map. Sorry, just loading this. I just want to take you through how that form, you can actually fill out the form. Alright, when you go to the interactive map, you will see this little gimmick over here. On this map, you are able to actually see each plot detail, whether it be the size of the plot, the price of the plot, the intended use of the plot. Forgive me, it's still loading, it takes a little bit of time. But at the bottom of this, there is a registration form. This registration form over here, for example, I would fill out my details. So it would be Mr. Gakusoka Senele and my contact number, so 7452-0152, etc., and the postal address. For example, PO Box 1652, etc. Select your nationality, say I'm from Afghanistan. You put in your pre-loan approval amount. Say, for example, when you communicate with your bank, you can actually get that amount over here and fill it in. And also the preferred plot number, which you will see at the top over here. So these plot numbers here, if I can just show you again, when you hover above it, it actually gives you the actual detail of the plot itself. So the plot number 74691 is $645,000. And if you click later on, you're going to actually see 3D imagery of the actual plot itself. So let me just go back to presentation. So this, as I said, is the interactive map. All the details you could possibly need for the actual plan are on this interactive map. And this will be updated in real time. So should you actually desire this plot and it's not available, it will let you know. As I said, this is the pre-registration. This is not a final registration form. It's just for you to just share your information with us so that we can contact you back and just give us a little bit of information as to which bank you're banking with, for example. Not the bank necessarily that you're going to get the mortgage through, but just which bank that you are currently banking with. Now just to explain the intended timeline, please just bear with me, it's just going to be one more point after this. So the intended timeline, the first stage is already complete, which is the preliminary design of the concepts. And the second stage is what we are on right now, which is the pre-launch marketing together with participating partners over here in mid-Feb, still spent on target. Then the third stage is actually going to be a public launching on the actual site itself, not over here. So we're aiming for mid-March, where we'll actually be showing people the actual facilities, the actual land itself. And land servicing and infrastructure development, we are trying to actually get this final design done by end of June. And this will actually be getting approved, of course, by City Council. So this is why you get this whole time delay over here, up until about November. So this is assuming GCC and all the competent authorities approve of this. And in regards to detailed design, basically the detailed design of the infrastructure, of the housing, and so forth, this is already being started, as you can see from those designs. And we're hoping to get this done by July. And this, of the construction of the housing, we hope by, God willing, start of November 2015, we will have this thing started. And of course, there'll be continuous construction as the market demands. So as more people come and buy more places, this is when we'll continue building as and when necessary. So just to explain to you the marketing mix. The marketing mix is just to put you guys at ease as to how we are going to attract people to come and buy this interesting development. So the reason why we would like the marketing mix is, of course, to make sure that the whole plot is developed as necessary. But this is how we're going to be selling it. Basically, the keywords, as we said, upmarket, eco-friendly, an investment opportunity, and secure and gated. Taglines, a new development, and total luxury and magnificent views, as you can see on that pull-up banner over there. So marketing mix, for example, corporate attire, some of these are already done. So pull-up banners, t-shirts, and so forth. We're going to have more samples, more designs done, of course, as things could move on. Business cards already done, websites already launched, as I showed you, on moremokolo.com. And there's going to be this groundbreaking ceremony, as we said, aiming for March 2015. These are just some of the designs which we'll have. This is the first batch of t-shirts. Of course, there'll be nicer batches being made, nicer business cards being made. There'll be caps and merchandise which will be available. And say, for example, this is the initial sales brochure. Please just ignore some of these logos. This was just a sample. I just forgot to change this on this presentation. But if you look on your chairs, you should actually see the final sales brochure that you can actually see. And the inside, which has got all the estate details with information about plots on the side. There's going to be a more detailed brochure with more information, which will be developed as and when we still continue processing. And of course, there will be more direct marketing. As I said, the information brochure. There will be PowerPoint presentations being held over time, newspapers, magazines, radio. We're targeting Gabs FM and Yuma FM. And then we're also going to have a billboard, which is going to be one on the road and one on the site. Online marketing, we're relying on the website and social networks, as well as email marketing. I don't know if you saw the invite that came to you pertaining to this actual event. That is the kind of feel of the actual invite, of the newsletter that we're trying to go with. This newsletter basically is HTML, so that it's got more pictures, more information that you can actually share. And also we're going to do search engine marketing. Search engine marketing is just a fancy way of just putting you at the top of Google. So you just pay and you will be at the top of Google. So when somebody goes and says property Botswana, they will find Moremokolo somewhere near the top of that place. And there's also going to be online rich media. So basically we're going to be taking some videos of the actual development as it goes and posting it to a YouTube channel, which will show people at a later stage. But these are just some of the things of the billboards. This is not final, and again, just ignore some of these logos if it does not concern you. But these are just samples. Of course, it will not look like this. The final renders, the proper 3D ones, will be the ones which will actually be on this. And the website, I think we've already gone through this. It shows you all the information that you could possibly need, displaying the residentials, the multi-residentials, the daycare centers, and the likes. And as again, I said, it's got an interactive map on it to give you detailed information about the plots which are available. And again, this pre-registration form so that you can fill out and contact us. As I said, this email newsletter, it's basically HTML newsletter. This is a sample newsletter made by GuruWeb, but it's just basically fully customized. You can do anything you want with this newsletter. And this newsletter, the beauty of it is when you send it out to people, you can actually see who opened. So, like we sent it out to you, we know who opened, who didn't open, and where you were opening it from. So, quite a handy thing to note instead of just spamming people. So this is the actual intended breakdown of our marketing mix. So for example, January we have done actually everything that we have said. February we are supposed to be starting the branding in the newspapers and the radio ads. We've done the pull-ups and we're actually going to finalize the videos. So this is just the whole detailed breakdown just to give you an explanation as to what we are venturing on doing. And these are actual prices, by the way, not made up. So online again, as you can see, and offline, whether it be the roadside billboard, which takes a lion's share of all this budget. But all in all, we're looking at spending about 288,000 on marketing. So this is going to really spur people on to come and buy plots in the automobile estate. But just to conclude, basically, as we said, we are trying to just make an upmarket eco-estate, something a little bit different from what we already have in this country. And it's quite a big piece of land, so this is why we are able to do basically section it into such large sizes of plots. As we said, there's also going to be multi-residentials, local centers, a tea garden, and a daycare center. All these residentials are going to be very competitively priced at about 600 per square meter, which if you go and look at other developments in Botswana, I'm sure you'll agree in this whole competitively priced rate. Otherwise, again, keywords, upmarket, eco-friendly, an investment opportunity, and secure. And basically, we're trying to set a new standard of development in this country and give you total luxury and magnificent views. But I thank you so much for your time. Please go online should you wish to get more information on this development. And at this stage, I'll hand over back to Mr. Morgan.